Stepping into the Division 2's endgame is like entering a whole new world. You've officially joined the ranks, standing alongside seasoned veterans and fresh-faced recruits just like you. But as you look around, it's easy to feel a bit out of place, especially when you catch a glimpse of their impressive gear. The power gap looms like an impossible void to fill. Whether it feels impossible or not, this is the next stage in your journey. The true endgame isn't about narratives and missions, it's about builds. In this world, those who can break free from the limits in their minds discover an expansive realm of possibilities, where the end of the Division 2 doesn't exist. But let's roll it back some. Before you can truly dive into the depths of possibilities, you've got to master the benches. Along the journey to level 40, you unlock the crafting bench, recalibration bench, optimization station, and the expertise system. Many refer to them as the 4 vampires. Their insatiable thirst has one singular goal: to drain you of every last resource you possess. You're at a crucial crossroads now. Approach it haphazardly and it's chaos. Everything feels jumbled, nonsensical, and you'll likely end up feeling lost. But if you hone in on what matters most at each stage, you can tread the path of enlightenment, maximizing efficiency every step of the way. Why does it even matter? Resources. At level 40, you're practically scraping the bottom of the barrel, and anything you attempt at the 4 vampires is gonna cost you an arm and a leg.
So where do you start?
Great question. This is your complete guide to crafting, tinkering, recalibration, optimization, and the expertise system.
Freak out, yo! Watch this.
When you hit level 40, a big chunk of your bench efforts likely went into leveling up your crafting bench. But hey, your job's not done yet. Now it's all about completing your blueprint library. Blueprints? They're like the keys to your crafting kingdom, giving you the power to whip up gear and mods whenever you need them. Let's break it down. Weapon mods, you craft them once and they're yours forever. But not every mod fits every weapon. Once you've crafted them, you can slap them into your weapons from the modding screen in your build. Then there are the gear crafting blueprints. These babies let you churn out brand or gear set pieces whenever you fancy. RNG decides the quality and attributes of each craft, so fingers crossed for those god rolls. Now onto the exotic blueprints, the special sauce. You can score these from season reward tracks, and once you get an exotic drop, Anaya's got the blueprints for it ready to purchase. But here's the scoop. Most exotics aren't up for crafting whenever you please. They've got blueprints because you can use the crafting bench to juice them up to a better version. And guess what's new with Season 3 and Project Resolve? Players can now tweak the secondary attribute slot on their exotic weapons. Everything else, locked in. But hey, at least you can give them a little extra oomph at the crafting bench. So you're itching to tweak your exotic weapon, huh? Whether you're after better attribute quality or swapping out the secondary attribute, the drill's the same. First up, select your exotic, hit the craft button, and then choose the attribute you want to change and cross your fingers. But hold up, if Lady Luck isn't on your side and you don't get what you're after, whatever you do not hit delete. That's a one-way ticket to losing your exotic for good. Instead, just rinse and repeat the process with the exotic you just crafted. Think of the crafting bench like a magician. It breaks down your exotics and puts it back together again, hopefully with a little extra sparkle. But here's the kicker, the magic show doesn't come cheap. It'll cost you some exotic components, the rarest resource in the game, amongst other goodies. So make sure you've got a healthy stash before you dive in. And brace yourself, this process could take a hot minute. Oh, and a quick heads up, if your exotic already has expertise assigned to it, no worries. That expertise stays put on the newly crafted version. But any optimizations you've done,
Poof! Gone faster than you can say, holy shit sandwich.
Listen up, agents. I've got a game-changing tip that'll save you a buttload of precious resources. Since Project Resolve rolled out, exotics now come with a random secondary attribute roll. Yep, you heard that right. It used to be fixed, but now it's a lucky dip every time. So if you're eyeing up for a specific attribute for that slot, here's how I reckon you should play it. If your exotic's already packing some expertise, you're in crafting bench territory, my friend. Get ready to part with those ultra rare exotic components. They're your ticket to making those attribute changes stick. But here's the kicker. Prioritize like your life depends on it. Start with the ones you're slinging the most lead with, and within that lineup, target the ones that'll feel the biggest boost from the switcheroo. Take, for instance, your trusty chatterbox. Adding damage to targets out of cover, that's a game changer, my friend. But maybe your nemesis is already hitting like a truck. A change might not impact your gameplay performance overall. Now, for those exotics still waiting for their expertise assignment, it's all about the farm game. Dive into those exotic farming methods like there's no tomorrow. We're talking projects, global events, reward tracks, you name it. With the right hustle, you're looking at a stash of 64 exotics a week. In this video, I show you how to leverage all the ways to get 64 exotics per week, every week. And that's before global events and reward tracks. And hey, all those junk exotics you picked up along the way, break them down for those sweet, sweet exotic components. Nothing goes to waste here. The bottom line, save those primo resources for your A-list exotics and the expertise system. Don't blow them on tweaks for guns that aren't pulling their weight in your top tier loadouts. Let's talk about a hidden gem in the crafting bench, the optimization supply section. This little corner is where you cook up the resources needed to soup up your gear. But let me tell you, some of these resources are rarer than a unicorn sighting.
They're not that rare.
What aren't?
Unicorns?
We're not getting into that right now.
You brought it up.
Now, most of us aren't sitting on a stockpile of these goodies. Nope, we're dipping into our other resources just to craft enough to get by. And let me tell you, it's not cheap. Optimization is like a ninja. Silent, deadly, and it'll make your bank account cry.
Wait! You have to spend resources to craft resources you spend on optimizing your gear that also cost more resources beyond those you just crafted?
Yup.
Friggin' vampire.
If that had you going in circles, I'm pretty sure that's the point. If you want to learn more on how to get and effectively manage your key resources in the Division 2, this is the Holy Grail. Most blueprints are acquired from level 3 control points or higher, side missions, and sometimes projects. And RNG is what determines what blueprint you get when, for the most part. And now there's a whole new type of extremely valuable blueprint you can farm. Named item blueprints for weapons and gear, including Dark Zone exclusives. You can snag these gems from reconstructed caches in the Descent game mode. Defeating the Nemesis gives you a solid 50% chance of landing one. And if luck isn't on your side, you can always splash some NSA tech credits at the vendor to score them too. Crafting is like dipping into your emergency stash. You don't do it unless it's absolutely necessary. However, it's one of those things you can bust out and do when you're on the hunt for something specific and you've got the resources to spare. Craft till you've managed to snag 2 out of the 3 rolls you're gunning for. That's where Recalibration swoops in to put it all together from there. Once you added the last roll for perfection, it's optimization time. This is the ultimate time-saving hack in the Division 2 many veteran players use, ensuring you spend less time chasing rolls and more time dominating the fights.
Let me see if I got this right. So to save time on farming, you go to the crafting bench and roll the dice many times until you get something close, which costs resources that took you time to get. Then you spend even more rare resources to optimize it, which took you even more time to get than the ones you used to craft it, while you also use more of the same basic resources required to craft it to also optimize it. Did I get that right?
Yep, you got it.
Why don't we just save time and go out back? You give me half your resources, I kick you in the balls, and we call it a day.
Tinkering is the latest innovation to hit the Division 2, courtesy of Project Resolve and Title Update 20 in 2024. It's a game changer that revolutionizes the way we interact with our benches right from our inventory menu. Imagine this, you're out in the field, deep in the heart of enemy territory, and suddenly you realize your build needs a tweak. In the past, you'd have to haul yourself all the way back to base just to make the adjustment. Not anymore. With tinkering, the entire recalibration, optimization, and expertise systems are right at your fingertips, neatly neatly organized and streamlined for easy access. You can fine-tune your gear on the fly wherever you are without skipping a beat. It's the ultimate time saver, ensuring you spend less time trekking back and forth and more time dominating the battlefield. The recalibration bench is the cornerstone of your power progression in the Division 2, consisting of two key components, the library and the tinkering area. The library acts as your repository of stats, housing all the attributes you have access to for modifying your gear. Meanwhile, the tinkering area is where you put those modifications into action. For those freshly minted level 40 agents itching to elevate their builds to new heights, building up your library is paramount. Think of it as stocking up your arsenal with the best tools for the job. In the world of challenging content, having a robust library can make all the difference between success and defeat. However, for newcomers to the end game, the challenge lies in knowing which talents and stats to prioritize. The library is a daunting task, but fear not, we're here to guide you through it. When it comes to populating your library, focus on adding attributes that are either max rolled or come very close to it. Begin by prioritizing the weapons you use most frequently, followed by key gear pieces like chests and backpacks. As you expand your library, keep an eye out for those attributes that significantly enhance your build's effectiveness in combat. I highly recommend you screenshot these lists. The rationale behind being selective with what you add to your library is simple. Resources are precious, especially for new players. You'll likely find yourself strapped for materials early on, and every piece of gear you sell or deconstruct contributes to building up your inventory. Given this scarcity, it's crucial to prioritize adding only high-quality roles and essential talents to your library. This ensures that when you do invest resources into recalibrating your gear, you're getting the most bang for your buck right from the get-go. Fortunately, thanks to game modes like Countdown, you can efficiently gather essential gear to bolster your library in just 1 to 2 hours. In this 8-person casual game mode, you can target specific loot types, making it rain gear suited to your needs. Lots of nuances in this strategy to be aware of. Stay tuned for my upcoming level 40 day 1 guide, where I'll delve deeper into optimizing your Division 2 experience. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you stay in the loop. Whenever you transfer an attribute or talent to the library, the original item is permanently destroyed, providing a way to extract stats from unwanted items for future modifications. Adding something to your library is a straightforward process. Let me walk you through it. First, head to the Tinkering bench. Within the bench's interface, navigate to the Library tab. Here, you'll see a list of attributes and talents you've extracted so far. To add a new attribute or talent to your library, simply select the item you wish to extract from. Then, choose the specific attribute or talent you want to add. The system will only allow you to select stats with a matching stat type on an item in your inventory. Valid options will be highlighted, while grayed out options indicate that you are lacking a matching item in your inventory. Confirm your selection, and voila! The selected attribute or talent is now permanently stored in your library, ready to be applied to future gear pieces. Remember, once you've transferred an attribute or talent to your library, the original item is gone for good. It's also important to note that you can only transfer stats and talents between items of the same type, such as backpack to backpack or between two shotguns. You cannot transfer stats from one type of item to another, like an assault rifle to a pistol or from gloves to backpacks. Recalibration in the Division 2 is indeed a powerful feature that enables you to transfer talents, attributes, and bonuses from one piece of gear to another, utilizing the Recalibration library. However, a crucial prerequisite for recalibration is that the talent or stat you want to transfer must already exist in your library. Here's a step-by-step guide on how to change the talent on your gear. Select the gear item you want to modify. Open the Tinkering menu, choose the gear item type, and select the gear item you want to modify. Select the category you want to alter, make your desired choice, and add it to the gear. This action will overwrite the existing without affecting any other attributes. Once the attribute or talent has been recalibrated, it becomes the only line item that can be modified on that particular gear item from now on. You can change that attribute as many times as you like, but the other attributes will remain locked in. Note, this process isn't free and costs basic materials.
There it is.
Optimization in The Division 2 is like fine-tuning your gear to unlock its full potential. It's all about taking what you have and making it even better, pushing your build to new heights of power and effectiveness. Think of the optimization station as your workshop, where you can roll up your sleeves and get to work on improving your gear. It's here that you can invest your hard-earned resources to boost the attributes of your gear items, making them stronger, tougher, and more tailored to your playstyle.
Invest? You mean waste?
The optimization station, now conveniently located within the tinkering menu alongside the recalibration station, streamlines the process of enhancing your gear in The Division 2. This means no more bouncing between bench menus. Everything you need is right at your fingertips. However, optimizing your gear isn't as simple as flicking a switch. Depending on the quality of the attribute you're aiming to improve, it may require a multi-step process. The maximum level you can achieve is determined by both your available resources and the quality of the attribute in your library. To optimize a piece of gear, select the stat you want to improve, and the station will display the potential increase and the associated cost. You can repeat this process until you reach the maximum level for the attribute. You will not be able to optimize a piece of gear beyond the level held in your library for that attribute. And here's where it gets tricky. Optimizing gear isn't cheap. The resources required, such as SHD requisitions, tactical assessments, alloys, and weaves, are rare and costly. Players often find themselves struggling to amass significant quantities of these resources, leading to additional costs beyond what's initially listed in the system. For example, acquiring more SHD requisitions might mean spending hard-earned XP from your watch. One SHD level equals one SHD requisition, costing a hefty 7 million XP. And if you're in need of more tactical assessments, crafting becomes your go-to option, requiring even more basic materials to do it. It's easy to see how the optimization process can quickly drain your resources. In fact, many players consider resource management the true grind in The Division 2 now in 2024. While gear acquisition used to be the primary focus, the introduction of more potent gear sets and game modes like Countdown have shifted the focus to power leveling, all at the expense of rare resources.
Speaking of expensive, tell them about expertise. That'll get their panties in a wad.
Ah, yes. The expertise system in The Division 2 is a game-changing feature that allows players to push the performance of high-end or better quality items to their maximum potential. Located within the tinkering station, the expertise system comprises two key elements: proficiency and expertise. Proficiency is the precursor to expertise. It represents your level of experience with an item and is measured in 10 levels, also known as ranks. However, in practice, only reaching level 10 proficiency is what matters. The ranks merely serve as a progress indicator. There are two main methods to increase proficiency: using the item in gameplay or research. By donating items or resources towards it, the number of resources required depends on what you're donating. When it comes to weapons, proficiency applies only to the unique weapon type, meaning levels gained won't transfer to other weapons within the same class or any variations of that weapon type. For gear, the expertise system operates a bit differently, offering a broader scope for advancement. Your proficiency ranks up an entire brand or gear set. However, there are exceptions to this rule for named items and exotic gear pieces, each having their own separate proficiency levels. Let's break it down with an example. Suppose you level up the named Palisades chest piece. In this case, all your named chest variations will also level up accordingly, benefiting from the proficiency boost. However, your unnamed Palisades gear won't experience any proficiency increase, and vice versa. Once you reach full proficiency with an item, the real fun begins. This is when you can start investing resources to enhance its core stat, a process known as gaining expertise. For instance, if my expertise level is 22, it means I can upgrade any proficient item to level 22. However, it's essential to understand that levels can only be earned by gaining proficiency in items, and the goal is to accumulate general proficiency on as many items as you can. Let's put it into perspective. If I'm fully proficient in 353 out of 386 items, it means I can only increase my expertise level by gaining proficiency in the remaining 33 items. In other words, to achieve maximum expertise level in the game, you need to be proficient in all 386 items. It's a system that will continue to grow as new items are added to the game each season. Once you've earned at least one expertise level, you unlock the ability to increase the expertise level of any proficient item. The maximum limit for a gear item is equal to your expertise level. In my case, with an expertise level of 22, my cap is also 22. This is represented by the yellow progress meter, which indicates how much proficiency you need to gain to reach the next expertise level. Once you've reached that level, you can then advance the grade of your proficient items up to the new level cap. In the beginning, this system can be very confusing to understand. So allow me to distill everything I just ran through down to the very basics. In just a few words, expertise is a way to directly boost one stat on an individual item. Step 1, you get the item proficient. Step 2, you upgrade its expertise level to your current cap. Step 3, get all items proficient to reach the maximum expertise level. And that's basically it. That's the expertise system simplified. Here's some more details you're gonna wanna know. Expertise boosts weapon, gear, and skills differently. Weapons gain a 1% increase to base damage per rank. Gear receives a 1% increase to base armor per rank. Skills see a 1% increase to a specific stat, depending on what the skill is. Note, you can also research into specific items by selecting it and choosing which material you would like to donate to its progress. Once the item reaches proficiency level 10, you will move on to another item. Listen up, you're gonna wanna know this. The most efficient way to increase your proficiency in the fewest steps possible is by purchasing printer filament with your watch and donating printer filament into the proficiency system. This is extremely fast, and having multiple characters and a sizable watch allows you to whip through this process completely in very little time. At the very least, use this research method for rare or items you don't use or encounter very often. So to do this, you're gonna wanna create those additional characters, which we call mules. And then you wanna consistently do XP farming with your primary character so that they all level up their watches at the same time. Passive income.
Sure, but how do you even know what to invest in first?
Good question. Damage is priority, and then the item that has the greatest impact on the most builds. That means weapons and damage skills will be first. Specialization weapons that you use regularly, followed by the other skills in order of frequency and use. Investing in gear would be the last on the list, if at all. But here's a tip. If it's a priority because you use it regularly, you probably don't want to invest resources into leveling up its proficiency. That's because you will organically progress it to be proficient just by using it. So don't waste your resources on your favorite items. Save them for the expertise part. For expertise, the priority is the same. But whatever you do, don't invest expertise into something that is subject to be abandoned or deleted. Don't add expertise to something that is not fully optimized with max attributes. Adding expertise to an item is easy. Let me show you how. Go into your menu, then expertise, select a proficient item you wish to level up. Here we'll show you the cost and the attribute gain. Continue until you reach the cap or run out of resources. Ta-da!
Prepare to be sucked dry, bandidos. This system is a bloodthirsty vampire.
Yeah, he's right. It's not a system new players want to spend too much time on early on.
Time? We're talking about limbs, arms and legs, franks and beans.
Franks and beans?
Yeah, the frank is the penis.
I know what you meant. And here's what you all need to know. With Project Resolve, the system got a little cheaper for us, but it's still very expensive. By level 6, you're already tapping into rare resources, and they continue to get more rare by level 11. Remember, all these costs are after you recalibrate your gear, after you spend a tremendous amount on optimizing it. And to reach level 24 on just a single item, you will spend 42 SHD recalibrations and 42 exotic components. Two of the rarest elements in the game. We're talking hours of gameplay investment to accumulate those. That's one item, just one.
What I don't get is why people are in a gaga rush over this system.
Well, a lot of players enjoy reaching maximum power potentials.
So you slave away to get all these hundreds of items proficient so you can have max expertise levels. Then what?
Then you get your favorite item to max expertise.
How far is that going to go? At these rates, the resources are going to be the choking point, not the proficiency level. And God forbid a new weapon comes out better than the one you just sold body parts for.
Yeah, things to think about.
Just punch me in the face.
Tito makes a good point, so let me throw you a bone here. The devs thought this one through, and there's no one farming system that will ensure you're covering the expertise system. It's going to take at least a 3-prong approach. 1, you're going to need multiple characters. 2, you're going to need to regularly farm XP. 3, you're going to need to regularly farm exotics. I simplified it, of course, but I go into it more in this resource management guide I made. I encourage you to check that out before you start spending too much time in this system.
Tell them about the other video, the one that explains whether expertise even makes a damn difference.
And be sure to watch this one too. I like the expertise system. It gives much needed structure for my junk. To prevent wasting resources, players generally follow this logical order when maximizing a build's potential. First recalibrate, then optimize, then add expertise. Since optimizing and expertise is extremely expensive, the player must decide if the gear warrants the commitment and the cost.
Like my ex-girlfriend, she did not.
That's not nice. I liked her.
Stage 5 Clinger Man, I had to change my friggin' phone number.
Thank you for hanging out with me today. My name is TuxedoBandido. That's Tito Bandido.
What's crack-a-lackin'?
This was another episode of The Division 2. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The Division 2. And if you like builds like this, check out the recommended video I have here for you. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
Follow me.
I get it.